Welcome to UK Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yukai Kechidori.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me here today on the show. I'm very privileged to have Jimmy with us, a man who's been doing business for the past 25 years. Jimmy, thank you so much for joining us here on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Incredible. Now, a little bit about Jimmy. He started businesses and has taught entrepreneurships around the world. At the age of 25, Jimmy founded American Computer Experience and grew the company with no capital infusion to $12 million in annual revenue and to over 700 employees, operating in 39 states and in 3 countries. Jim taught entrepreneurship at Georgia State University for 9 years and ranked number 1 in business school for 12 straight semesters. Oh, what a resume. So great to have you here with us, Jimmy.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome. I know there's more to what I've just read, about your connection to CNN. Would you expand more about yourself, how you got into business?
Well, I always thought that I would end up working for a big company like Coca-Cola. My dream was to be the CEO of Coca-Cola, and they decided they didn't want me at all. So I was devastated that I wasn't able to get a full-time job with Coke, even though I had worked there as an intern twice. And I ended up having to start a business at 25 because I couldn't get a job. The
Right.
economy in the United States was bad at the time. And so I started a business, and I wanted to only work during the summer so that I could go to graduate school during the winter. And so I made a list of all of the summer type businesses, landscaping and cleaning pools and summer camps and stuff like that. And I ended up deciding to start a summer camp to teach kids. And we were able to grow that to 89 locations within 7 years.
Wow. I love, stories like this. You wanted something and you couldn't find the right circumstances, and you created your own way out. Incredible, Jim.
Yes, we were even fortunate and lucky enough to have locations there in the United Kingdom. We had locations at Oxford, Cambridge, and Royal Holloway as well.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Well, you're the right man for the show today, because we've entitled today's show Entrepreneurship, Tips, Secrets of a Successful Entrepreneur. And we want to learn from you, what is it that you did that took you from 0 to 700 employees and running a company in 39 states and doing so well over the last few years. And now you're teaching others the same thing. Now, to get us started, what is the number one tip that is sort of sustained you over these years of being an entrepreneur?
Well, the most important thing is that we knew our customers very, very well. So, they always talk about that you need to understand your target market. I was my target market. So when someone asked me, how do you describe your customer, I could tell them everything about the customer because I was the person that would have bought my services, when I was a young person. So I knew everything about the customer. And because of that, we were able to have a very precise, absolute, perfect value proposition that when the parent heard our value proposition, they would buy almost immediately from us. It almost required no selling. And because of that, the business was a success. We were able to grow so very quickly, sometimes 500-600% a year, because the value proposition resonated immediately with parents.
Wow. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Know your customer. Why is this really so valuable to anyone who is starting businesses today?
Well, if you don't know your customer, you're just guessing about what they want to buy. But if I know everything about my customer, the type personality they have, the way they spend their money, how they make money, all of these things, I can create a product that's absolutely designed just for them and no one else. A product that's so strong that they literally stop you when you describe it. You're describing it, you talk for a minute or two, and they say, stop, stop, stop. I want to sign up now. Let me give you my credit card information immediately. And that happened to us all the time. If I got a mother, not a father, but a mother on the telephone and was talking to her and could explain what we did, they would buy from us immediately because what I was saying to them, resonated so much, that was so exactly what they wanted to hear, that they would buy as quickly as I could get them signed up. And it was so convincing that many times they didn't even need to ask the price. They just didn't care.
Let's help people today, Jimmy. How did you get to that point? Is there a process you follow through? Because you've taught this as well, of creating that customer avatar. How do you do that?
Well, no, it didn't come quickly. It took a while, and we went through many different versions and tested many different versions over the years. I would say it took us 3 or 4 years to get it perfect.
Right.
At first we didn't know who our customer was. We were just sort of guessing. And eventually we would get better and better guesses to the point where we figured out exactly who they were. And once we were able to do that by meeting our customer, we would talk to a customer and we would find this person loves us. And then we would talk to a different customer and that person was not as in love with us. They thought what we were doing was okay. And then they maybe would give us a 7 as opposed to a 10. But if you talk to the people who would give you a 10 again and again and again, eventually you would figure out exactly what they wanted and be able to express that to them. So I'll tell you a little bit more about our customer. Our product was a summer camp, but not for happy children. Most of our customers were unhappy kids that did not have a best friend. They had a difficulty in social situations.
Right.
They were not happy in school. They did not have a best friend from their own school. And so we're learning a lot about our customer now. And I, over the years, would ask the parents, does your child have a best friend? And the parent would say, and they would usually hesitate a little bit. You could tell that they were a little afraid to admit this. They would say, no, my son does not have a best friend. Does your son compete in sports? No, my son is not happy in sports. Does your son spend a lot of time alone? Yes, my son is happier with a computer than with other people. So we've learned a lot about that child, and slowly over time we realized that what we were good at was taking a child like that and finding them a best friend. We would find another child just like that, maybe who went to a school 5 minutes away from them, maybe went to a different school, was maybe in a different grade, and we could say to the mother, well, let me tell you what I'm going to do. We are selling you a summer camp. But what I'm really going to do is take your child that is not happy and make that child happy. At the end of the time with us, your son is going to have a best friend. And what would you pay for that? What do you pay to make your child happy? Well, most parents will pay anything for that.
Well, by you describing this, I want to pull my credit card right now and get
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, that's the reaction that we would get. And so when a mother would hear this, and we would usually speak to mothers because mothers are the people that sign up for summer programs for their children. Dads don't do that. Mothers do that. When a mother would hear this, they would go, well, you're describing my child. My child is not happy. If their child was happy, they probably weren't a perfect customer and they may not, end up coming to our program. But for a child who's unhappy, and I can promise you that I'm going to find you a best friend and I'm going to make your child happy, just go ahead and get out the credit card because they're coming to our program.
That is brilliant, Jim. Absolutely brilliant. That has served you well because you managed to raise, $12 million in a very short space of time in revenue from that. Now, after that, what else do you do which makes you incredibly effective, other than knowing your customer?
Well, a huge part of it was that we actually delivered that. So it wasn't a false promise. We did figure out how to do that. And every year at the end of the summer, I would get hundreds of letters from mothers thanking me for delivering on that promise. So a huge part of it was that we really did deliver and fulfill on that promise. And then our advertising would change. Instead of just saying, we have a summer camp at Royal Holloway, you should come, and tell them what we were teaching. We taught computer skills like HTML and video design and all of those sort of things. That's a list of the characteristics. Instead of that, we would change our advertising to say, do you have a child that's not happy and you wish that you would have a good friend, a BFF, a best friend forever for your child? If that's what you're interested in, we have a computer camp at Royal Holloway, and we're going to give your child that happiness. And so that changed everything that we did, especially our advertising and the way that we would talk to parents when we got them on the phone. And so when they would call and ask about the program, we would answer their questions, but we would ask questions ourselves. Is your child on the rugby team? No, my child, and my child's not interested in that. And so we would lead the parents to a very good understanding that we were a different place, and our goal was very different. Our goal was not to make them better at horseback riding or swimming or tennis or football or anything. Our goal was dramatically different, and because that was every part of our mission,
right,
we would change everything. Even at lunch, we had rules. Everyone's been to cafeteria and wondered who they're going to sit with. Well, we didn't let that happen. We told you who you were going to sit with. We would, if you sat down at a table alone, we would go over, pick up your tray, and take you to another kid and make you sit next to him. And if you were shy, we would lead the conversation and say, Johnny, Fred here is very interested in this, and he's been working on this, and he's doing this. And eventually we would have the kids realize that they had commonalities and things in common, and then we would let them alone and let them talk by themselves. But we will more or less force you into a friendship because that's what we had promised. So, this understanding affected our execution, it affected our operations, it affected our advertising. It became the core of everything we did, even our hiring. So I could hire a web programmer that had a lot of friends, or I could hire a web programmer that was shy. Well, at first you think, well, I'm going to hire the outgoing person because they're going to be outgoing and a better instructor. No, it turned out that we were better off hiring the shy people. which is very counterintuitive. It's the opposite of what you think. And the reason we would hire a shy person is because our customer was shy, and therefore they would end up connecting better. The instructor would understand the child at a very inherent way because they were the child. And so you would think that, the last thing you would ever do is hire a shy person to be a teacher. No, you end up hiring a lot of shy people because they connect better with the customer.
Amazing. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I want to take you back to a good story of how you got started, when your parents kicked you out, because there is a connection to what you're talking about and the story.
Yes, my parents were fantastic, or still are. They're absolutely amazing parents, but they made it very clear to me that, they were not going to support this forever. I needed to figure out on my own. And they also made it clear that if I didn't like something about life, that I should go out and try to change it. And so I started off a shy, introverted child myself. In high school, I did not have a lot of friends. I was not a happy person. When I went off to university, I was not happy. But I had to teach myself that, I'm not going to be happy with friends until I'm happy with myself. No one wants to be my friend until I like myself. Right. And so I became, over time, a very outgoing, extroverted person. And I would choose jobs that would help that. For example, if you're shy and you want to be extroverted, the best job that you can have is being a bartender or a waitress. Because the only way you make money as a bartender is by talking to the client, the customer. Right. And so when I was 21, I got a job as a bartender so that I could practice becoming more outgoing.
Right. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Let's dive on to the rest of the points here. I love the energy you bring and how you simplify everything. Now, now somebody know their customer and then move on to deliver on their promise they give to their customer. What else do you do? Or what else have you done which has kept you on the leading edge of all entrepreneurship, especially in your line of work?
Well, I'm continually trying to challenge myself. I'm still not done working on my own personality and my own entrepreneurial skills. I'm always trying to develop new skills. So last weekend, my children's school needed an auctioneer for a school event. Well, I had never done an auction before, but I volunteered to be the auctioneer so that I could challenge myself and build new skill sets myself. And so I had to learn how to be an auctioneer. The weekend before that, I was in a axe throwing competition, throwing axes at a target. I had never done that.
Right.
But I did it, and I actually won because, I guess I'm good at throwing axes. But I was trying to force myself to do new things, to continually learn and continually put myself in uncomfortable positions so that I can learn to become more entrepreneurial and more comfortable with, being an extroverted person. My wife says that I'm very much an extrovert, but I know that I'm not yet. I'm still very shy.
I may agree with your wife because you come across as one.
No, I'm still an introvert. I'd still rather be alone by myself hiding in a room.
That's incredible. So we've got to know your customer, deliver on your promises, and continue challenging yourself. And you've given us a classical example of how you do that consistently. Is there anything else that you would say to entrepreneurs or people who are getting started? If they want to continue doing well, they can always rely on this, other than those 3 points you've mentioned.
Yeah, there are some other things I've learned. Another thing is always look for new opportunities.
Right.
So as human beings, as men, we can spend our weekend, playing sports or doing those other manly things. But you're not going to find new business opportunities doing that. When I go on vacation, I'm always looking for products that I could sell at home that the foreign country that I'm visiting may have. They may have a product or a service that is different or unique that you could import or export. Instead of looking at sports all weekend, I would rather read business magazines or entrepreneur magazines and see if I can learn something from them. Instead of watching, stupid reality TV or some of the stuff, spend time trying to make yourself more aware of different things going on around you. Entrepreneurship is not about creativity. Everyone says an entrepreneur is someone who is creative. That's just not true. I don't believe that. There was actually a very interesting study that came out from the London School of Economics, and they've studied entrepreneurs all around the world, and they discovered that 93% of entrepreneurs copy ideas from other businesses. They're not creative, they're simply copying, which is more like innovation. So I don't worry about being creative. Instead, I try to worry about innovation. I try to find an idea that you're doing, and then I copy it. I don't steal your trademarks or your patents or your copyrights, but I might take your idea and try to do it and just do it better than you. So there's nothing wrong with that. So I spend a lot of time looking at other ideas and trying to copy them and make them better, but add my own twist to it. So I don't really believe anymore that entrepreneurship is about creativity. It's not about creativity, it's about innovation.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. And the more you become innovative, the better the chances of you being in the game for a long time.
I think so, yes.
Absolutely incredible. As we come toward the end of our time together here, where can people get in touch with you? I know you do a lot of speaking engagement, and you've got a lot of great testimonials of how you connect with audience. Where can people find you for such services?
Well, the best place is jimbeach.com, JIMBEACH.com, jimbeach.com. And I'm on Twitter at Entrepreneur Jim. So those are the best places to find out more about me. Find out about the books that I'm writing. I have a new book coming out in a couple of months, and you can find out everything on those two platforms.
Outstanding. Now, is there anything else around the subject of entrepreneurship, the things that have kept you going, that separate you, that you want audience to know or just want to share with our audience today?
Sure. Another thing is I don't like risk. They say that entrepreneurs are risky people. I hate risk. And so I do anything I can to reduce the risk that I'm going to take before I start a business. I don't try to start a business with a lot of money. I try to start a business with as little money as possible because it's easier to succeed. If you spend $5 million to start a business, that means you need to make $5 million in profit before you're profitable. But if you start a business with $5,000 or pounds, then the barrier to succeed is much smaller. You only need to have 2 or 3 sales instead of 2 or 3,000 sales, and you are already profitable. So I'm not a big fan of risk. So my definition of entrepreneurship does not include risk. It does not include creativity. And also, I'm not a big fan of passion. I like to reserve passion for the church, the synagogue, the mosque, and the bedroom with my wife. But passion for entrepreneurship, for selling something, to me is called materialism. I will sell anything if I can make money from it. Not necessarily, I don't have to necessarily love the business that I do, I think the stereotype is that you have to be passionate about what you do. I've sold a lot of stuff that I don't really like.
Jim, I love how you take this the common thinking and spin it on its head and bring something very unique. Absolutely amazing.
Well, thank you.
Where do you see the biggest opportunities, for entrepreneurs nowadays?
The ideas are already out there. I wouldn't worry about trying to find something new or even sexy. I would just try to find an idea close to home that you can start for as little money as possible. I don't think that necessarily technology is the best thing. I do a lot of non-tech businesses as well. So, look for something that's already succeeding and then just copy it. There's no reason to try to start the next Facebook or something like that. Just find a really good idea that you can do cheaply and try to replicate, copy it for yourself and be successful that way. They say you should look for the hot industry. Well, look at old industries and see if you can make those better. There's still a lot of room in healthcare and real estate and transportation. A lot of opportunities exist in boring places. There have been a lot more billionaires because of real estate than because of tech. And so look at the old ways and see if you can improve on them.
Outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. It's something about mindset, which I'm learning from you right there. You think is very different from the common entrepreneurs I get to speak on. Now, in your opinion, having done this for so many years, what is the perfect mindset for success in our time today?
Don't be afraid of failure and never give up. Never accept no. If you ask a girl out and she says no, you should stop asking. But if you ask someone, do you want to buy my product, and they say no, then you should ask them again in a month. And don't be afraid to hear no. So the mindset of an entrepreneur is never give up, never surrender, continually fight. And just because someone says no, to me, that means no, not now. That doesn't mean no, never. It means no, not now. Ask them again in a month and say, well, why not? What can I do to change my product that would make you want to buy it? Always keep asking.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Well, Jim, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, and we will certainly love to have you again and talk about another subject, because you're very engaging, provided tremendous value, and we certainly love what you represent for entrepreneurs there. If you had been listening, you can get in touch with Jim on this website. Again, what is the website, Jim?
JimBeach.com.
Excellent. And you can find him also on Entrepreneur Jim. That's on Twitter, or you can look on the LinkedIn there and you'll be able to be connected with Jim. Alternatively, click the link below this audio recording and you will be able to connect with Jim. Once again, Jim, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. We want to wish you success in your next endeavor.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to UKAI Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.ukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.